Hi, my name is Gerhard Gschwandtner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Don Pearson. He's the CEO of SalesFit RX. Welcome, Don.
Thank you very much.
So, we both have a Fitbit.
Yes, indeed.
And we measure our physical performance with that little amazing gadget. And you have come up with an idea that you have a technology that allows salespeople to measure their sales fitness levels. Tell us about it.
That's correct. So just like Fitbit works in the background, basically, to help you measure your level of physical performance and fitness and so on and so forth, make that visible to you, set your own goals, and measure your performance against it. We're doing something very similar in the realm of sales performance.
How do you get the data into the system, and what displays can you look at?
Yeah, so it runs across all of their devices, tablets, all mobile devices, so iPhones, Samsungs, Androids, so on and so forth, laptops, Apple computers, so on and so forth, anything that a sales professional would use. Right. And it catches or captures a lot of information about how they're actually going about their job, feeds it up to the cloud, and then sends it back to them in an understandable way so that they can get a much better idea of how they're actually allocating their time and, just as importantly, how they're organizing their time.
Right. So what are some of the discoveries that people have made using your system?
Yeah, well, number one actually is time organization, and I can speak from personal experience on that. When I started looking at how I go about my job, it confirmed something that I definitely thought, but it's different to actually see it in front of you. And that's that I tend to be much more disjointed about how I go about things, jumping from thing to thing, rather than being more focused and setting aside time to be performing particular activities. And I saw it right there visually and realized that if I would just come at this from a different perspective, in effect, I'd be gaining a lot more productive time during the day without having to work harder.
How many times a day do salespeople actually watch their fitness report?
They can come to it anytime, just like with Fitbit. You may not even care until the end of the week, but what we do is we feed the information up to the cloud and we provide it back, actually on their mobile devices or on the web application, and so they can see how they're doing against the targets they've set for themselves.
So what can the sales manager see? Well,
the sales manager gets to see everything that the sales professional sees, but of course sees it aggregated for their team. They can see it on an individual basis and do comparisons from individual to individual, and they can see the information reported collectively. So, for example, they can see what the selling time is for their team and start to measure the improvement there. They can also see that broken down by individual activity. For example, how much time are the people on my sales team actually in meetings? How much time are they actually spending engaged with the prospect or the customer in phone calls, not just a number that happens to show up in the CRM. So they see all of that. They can do comparisons, and then they can use that to help coach their team. So they may have somebody who's exceptional at a number of different things. Now they have actual measurables reported back that they can show to others on their team who may be struggling in that particular area. So best practices come out of it.
So the way I understand it is it improves the sales manager's radar screen visibility, ability to coach. How does it change behavior for salespeople?
So the way we look at it is we think that it helps the sales professional become their own coach. They start to have information that's available to them so they can get out of the rut that they've been in forever, just whatever patterns they've developed, and start to see how to improve that. That also transforms the sales manager's perspective, because now they don't have to focus on, well, it's not a one-size-fits-all like it typically has been in the past. Now they can look with a specific individual and coach them on the area that clearly that person needs to improve on. For somebody else, it may be a completely different area, and yet they're armed with real information.
Final question. Do you have a suggested list of fitness measurements? What metrics to put in there?
Sure. And selling time obviously is number one. But we provide a complete environment for setting objectives and goals and that type of thing. So the manager can set quotas. If they set it, it's a quota, and regardless of who they're setting it for. They can set it on the obvious things like a sales quota. Everybody's going to have a sales quota, but they can also set it on other measurables. I want you to engage in this many in-person meetings this month, and I want you to engage in this amount of time in phone calls with prospects or in prospecting time. So they can set that all for their team, and it's very individualized. At the same time, the professionals themselves can set their own goals that they want to achieve and measure themselves against it, just like they do with this. So together, that's what helps elevate the whole team.
Well, I'm very excited. I look forward to seeing the demo, but I encourage everybody to look at salesfitrx.com. This is, in my view, a wonderful tool to increase the fitness of your salespeople and make sales management a lot easier. Thank you, Don.